remain soft 24/7. In order for one to make it in the city, you have to know when to turn the softness up and turn it down. I think when we're in spaces, whether it's professional or whether it's an environment where we're displaying ourselves, putting ourselves out on a whim for people to take and pick apart or to project whatever they think about you, that's when your softness is removed.
When I came to New York, I was much more soft-spoken and just kind of more patient, things like that. And I feel like living in New York has kind of made me a little bit more aggressive and just kind of a little bit more like a faster pace. But I feel like living in here, it's important not to lose that softness that you have, because I feel like New York is a place that you can really get caught up.
I feel like it's so difficult for us to embrace being soft.
Yeah,
we kind of have to like live in
oblivion. Thinks that we're
oblivion.
so like tough, and like we always have to act tough, and always have to act like
it's not
mean
okay to
mugging,
feel.
you know? Yeah.
I'm African. I grew up without my parents, so like when it comes to being a certain way, I'm always judged, or just like feeling like I belong in a world where I don't belong in. I grew up in like Africa. Like my principles and like values on life comes from an African background. A lot of people don't view things the same way as I do.
Also, I feel like it's important to not just teach tolerance, but to teach love, because that's so much important than just being tolerant. Yeah, a lot of times, because you hear a lot of people say, oh, like they just don't care, or I just mind my business, it is what it is. But that's not how. No, that's not how it is. You should be able to like counteract. We hate without any reason. People hate things all the time, so we should be able to just love.
The biggest way to change the world is to change yourself.
It's all about like being real, but also coming from a place of love.
Yeah.
And you know,
it's a protecting kind of, it's a defense mechanism in a lot of cases, just to make sure you're not taken advantage of, especially in a city like this.
Yeah, and at first everybody definitely started with like the whole like taken advantage of. Like every single person in New York City that is in the fashion industry, music industry, and I know every girl on this table definitely has taken advantage of from like older people that already were in the industry when they and they saw us and they were like, oh, this girl could do so much. Let me not let her know that,
That's why this solidarity is so important as well, because just thinking about it, we're reminded like, wow, sometimes, my softness does kind of get lost in the sauce.
Yeah. I redefine what it means to be a woman now is by living in my truth, not giving a fuck about what anybody else has to say about it, because at the end of the day, I'm the only person who has to live my life.
Yeah.
Not anybody else, so anybody else's input is almost irrelevant.
I would like people to do the work and take care of themselves without that compromising someone else's human rights. I think there's a way of doing that. I think Black women are naturally really good at doing that because we are a double minority. We're constantly worrying about sexism and racism. Yeah. It's like low-key PTSD. Like we literally have to be considerate for other people because we just don't want people to we don't want to violate others the way we've been violated for such a long time.
But that goes into us being naturally caring and nurturing, because we can't even help it sometimes. We could not like somebody from a fucking campaign, but we can care so much for them. So
one thing that I would like to see changed is, like I said, do the work as an individual. Make sure that anything that you're doing is from a place of love and light, and be a good person. Karma's real, golden rule is real, all them little lessons kindergarten's real.